Okay, we good to go? All right. Again, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Tom Fisher. I'm a senator in the 37th Guam Legislature. I'm honored to be here with you, and I'm honored to be here with these fine ladies and gentlemen I'm going to introduce to you in a minute. Thank you all for coming down now. Anybody have a watch on? Yeah. Okay, it's 2:25 in the afternoon on 1 May 2024. The Committee on Infrastructure, Economic Development, Simon Sanchez High School, Disability Services, Self-Determination and Historic Preservation, Housing Accountability, and the Guam Build-Up Town Hall meeting is called to order. Again, the time is now roughly, I would assume it's 2:26 p.m. Notice of this meeting was provided to senators, stakeholders. All of you people got notice of the meeting. And we properly and timely noticed it under Guam law. April 24th, 2024, we gave a 5-day notice. All of this is required by law. That's why I'm going through this. And April 29th, 2024, we put out a 48-hour notice. So timely notice went out. In addition to the notice of the meeting was also provided and available on the Guam Legislative website. Materials for the town hall meeting were shared in the committee drive and are available in print upon request. Recording, this meeting today is being live streamed, I understand, and I think it's actually being broadcast on two local channels. I'm not sure which it is. Yeah, and it's also on the website. Let's see, what else? I hope everybody was able to sign in. There's a QR code up front. I would like to thank the people who have joined us on this panel. This is not a traditional legislative session. This is a town hall, so it's a little more relaxed. We hope to hear from all of you. And if give me a minute, and I'm going to introduce everyone. This is the Honorable Governor of Guam, Lourdes Leon Guerrero. This seated in front of me is the Honorable Josh Tenorio, the Lieutenant Governor of Guam. And seated next to the Lieutenant Governor is one of the hardest working men on Guam, is Eric Swanson, who is the Superintendent for the Department of Education. And over here on the far left is Mr. Vince Ariola. He's head of the Department of Public Works. So if there's any, if you guys have any potholes or anything like that in front of your house, this is the man. Okay? Okay, and over here, I'd like to introduce you to my friend. This is Senator Joe San Augustine. Senator Joe. And seated next to Senator Joe is somebody I'm sure you all know from the radio, Senator Chris Barnett. And this is, in my mind, this is Sabina Perez. She's also a senator, and she always, I'll say one thing about this senator, she always does her homework. So, Sabina. And certainly not least, my friend Dwayne San Nicolas is here to listen to this, and I'm honored to have him here. Thank you very much for being here, Senator Dwayne. Okay, I'm going to just read some general rules of conduct. Basically, don't get in a fight. Be respectful. Use professional language. Let's not say bad things about each other, and abide by the rules. We're very interested in hearing what you have to say. Very much. If you would, for all of us, before speaking, don't be nervous. Just introduce yourself. Okay, and I want to tell you what the discussion will be about, and then we're going to get started. Today's agenda: overview on construction management services for the Simon Sanchez School, update on requests for proposals, procurement, the project timeline, financial projections, and stakeholder input and comments. And at this time, I am very honored to present to all of you for opening remarks is the Governor of Guam, Lourdes Leon Guerrero.
Thank you very much, Senator Fisher. Half a day. First of all, I want to say thank you for this opportunity to hold this town hall meeting. You know, the beauty of our democracy is just that. Expression of our opinions, freedom of education, freedom of expression, and freedom to sit down and listen and try to hash out issues so we can come to a resolvable solution. On behalf of the government of Guam, I apologize for the delay in building this Simon Sanchez. And as I think back of when this need was seriously talked about, it has been 10 years. No excuse for that in my mind. And I know 10 years. It has been 10 years. It has gone through 2 administrations. And I'll tell you, when it started, there was a lot of delay. There were legal protests. It was in the courts. Just various challenges that came about as a result of building. You would think we need a education, we need a school. Let's just build it, and we think we can build it just like that. But we didn't. We did not. When Josh and I came into office 4 years ago, and I was talking to a senior here, and he was at the meeting as a freshman, and we said we were going to build this school. What we did then was we gave money to the superintendent at that time, and he took the money at the time and he put it into play. He did the RFP for the architect and engineering. He did the land survey. He did the soil survey. He did whatever environmental rules that we have to follow done. I'll tell you, one of my biggest frustration about government is the rules and regulations that are put forward, but that we must follow. Because you see, the money that's going to be used for the school is your mother and father's tax dollars. And we want to make sure that when we use your tax dollars, we use it to the best that we can. One of them is building a school. So as a government, we have to follow the rules in play. Again, just telling you what the process is so you can have a bit of an understanding of what we as leaders have to go through, because we are just as frustrated as you are because of the delays. So let me tell you where we're at, and I asked my DPW director to maybe say some more details. We are now done with the architectural engineering. You have a design for a school now, something that should have been done 10 years ago, but let's just leave it to the past and let's see how we can work faster moving forward, because we need to move faster for you, for us to give you the conducive environment to be educated. You have great teachers, great students, and we need a good educational facility in Simon Sanchez. So we have the architectural engineer done. That was a big leap forward. We now are looking for a construction manager. And we have put forward a request for proposal, and the construction, there are 6 people that came on to the table. So that's another hurdle that we had to go through. Once we get the construction manager, my DPW director says, once we get it, we can probably start breaking ground by the end of this year, and we will probably have a new school in 2 to 3 years. I know that's a long time, but we want to build a hospital. We want to build a school that is through the architectural engineer, from input from all of the students and all of the teachers. So again, I appreciate your frustration. I appreciate your anger about not having a school and not having a home. And as a result, we as leaders up here are going to work together to get you a school within 2 to 3 years. That is what we are going to assure to you. So I want to say thank you for your time, thank you for your attention, and I look forward to what you have to say and how we can work together to get you a school in 3 years. Jesus Masi.
Thank you, Governor. Thank you, Governor. Okay, thank you, Governor. I'm going to start off this afternoon with a few questions that will be submitted to the panel, and one of the we're going to begin with, and coming out with me. Yeah. I'd like to introduce, you already did it one time, this is Vince Ariola. He's head of the Department of Public Works. He'll give everybody his personal cell number if you have complaints about potholes.
And more.
And more. Okay, that's good. Anyway, the first question going to DPW is, can you share an overview on the construction management services, and could you tell us what it's very important, construction management services are?
Okay. Thank you, Senator. And good to be here in front of all the sharks here. Before I begin, just a little bit of background. About 3 years ago, when the Department of Education was in the middle of producing the architectural designs and drawings for your school, the governor asked me, she directed me to meet with DOE on a monthly, if not regular basis. They were having meetings, planning meetings, as the design and the architectural drawings were going forward. It was myself and a former engineer, a former longtime employee of DPW, Sabino Flores, that was tasked to attend those meetings. We attended those meetings. This was with your former superintendent, John Fernandez. We attended those meetings probably for about a year. We looked at the design. We stayed on top of the design. At the time, it was about 50% done for your school. And then all of a sudden, for some reason, as we were looking through it, we said this is a huge project. At the time, the closest estimate was about $140 to $150 million to build your school. And the first thing that came up to my mind, from my experience, and Sabino's mind, is, do you have a construction manager? Do you have a project manager? Do you have an owner's agent that's going to represent you in reviewing and assessing all these plans to make sure this is what you want, this is efficient, it has cost savings, and it's the right building to build? And also to guide the contractor during construction to make sure that what's on paper, what's in the plans, gets built to spec the way it was written. And they said, no, we don't have a construction manager. And at the time we said, you need to stop. You need to stop everything you're doing, and you need to bring a construction manager on board today. And the reason for that is what I just said, is to follow along the architects and the designers to make sure they build what you want them to build, and then to follow through with the construction. Unfortunately, they did not procure the services of a construction manager. And so, when Public Law 3722, I believe it is, when it was passed last year in July, initially, the job for, and the responsibility for building Simon Sanchez fell strictly on the shoulders of DOE. Well, the legislature changed that and put it on the shoulders of DPW and DOE. So we looked at the law, we looked at the responsibility that we have to do, and we said we cannot move forward with building Simon Sanchez, even though the plans are already done. Architects' designs and plans are already done. We cannot move forward unless we have a construction manager, a project manager on board. For a $140, $150 million project, you need a firm to guide you. We don't have that capability within the government of Guam. So one of the first things we did is we met with DOE, met with Superintendent Swanson. I met with the governor, met with the lieutenant governor, and we pulled the trigger. We said, all right, we need to get a construction manager. We looked for funding. DOE had some funding. The governor threw in 7 mil, 5 mil, something like that, about $5 million. This is not a small project, folks. It's a huge project as well. So the money was thrown in. We put an RFP out, which is a request for proposal. We put it out in January of this year. We had 6, which is excellent for you folks. 6 proposals come in. Unfortunately, in the procurement rules and regs that we have today, unfortunately, a protest was filed. When a protest is filed in an RFP or in an invitation for bid, it's called an automatic stay. I issued an automatic stay. That means the entire procurement process stops. And what we do then is we take the protest and we give it to the Attorney General, who is supposed to be our legal counsel, as you have probably been reading. They're supposed to be our legal counsel, and that protest, that request for assistance, has been stuck with the Attorney General's office. In a perfect world, if this construction manager goes through smoothly, if the invitation for bid for construction goes smoothly, the financing goes smoothly, sure, we can break ground in December. Easy, we can break ground in December. But there's certain processes and procedures that we're faced with that ties our hands. And right now, as long as there's a protest, which there is, our hands are tied until we get the correct legal advice, legal assessment, and the correct procedure done with the assistance of the Attorney General. So unfortunately, it's not good news, but it's the only news I have, and it's the only procedure that I can go through. And then that means that the entire process is stayed and it's delayed.
Thanks, don't go anywhere. Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Arreola. I neglected to introduce a couple of VIPs here. This is Ms. Mary Okada from the Guam Community College. And this is Mr. Angel Sablon, the Department of Public Works. Some guy, some dude.
And Board Member Maria Gutierrez.
And Board Member Maria Gutierrez. Sorry, Ms. Gutierrez. Okay, we actually, we have another question for the Department of Public Works. I hope Vince will join us again. I know the echo, please. Yes, please. I know the echo in here is bad, and what we were just talking about is construction management services and the fact that, you know, the government collects money in taxes, we have to spend it, and that's procurement. So when we bought this building, we procured it. So if you hear that word procure, that just means the government's buying stuff. And generally with a huge project like JFK and Simon Sanchez, you got to have a construction manager. Otherwise, I promise you the whole project is going to go in the toilet. Yeah. Okay, next question for DPW. We're going into government purchasing again, I'm happy to say. Can you share with us the status of requests for proposals? And Vince, as I understand it, well, you can tell him again. Do it again. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. He's going to talk a little bit about requests for proposals, just one of the methods by which the government purchases.
Oh, okay. This is for the construction?
Tell us about the requests for proposals, what they are, how's it working?
Okay. A request for proposal basically is similar to what we did, the exact same thing that we did for the construction manager, and it'll be the exact same thing for the construction of your school. Is the governor and lieutenant governor via Department of Public Works issues that request out to the public, and that public notice seeks proposals from engineering firms, construction firms, depending on what we're looking for. In the case of, let me just go back and I'll use the construction manager. We're soliciting a firm with certain criteria, certain experience, certain background. Firms that have done construction management before, and we put a scope of work, and that scope includes everything from reviewing the design, reviewing the architecture, working with the current architect, working with the school, working with GDOE, working with ourselves to make sure that we have the correct plan. And so when we issue that out to the public, what we expect in return is we expect companies to come back to DPW and say, here's my proposal, this is my experience, these are the projects that I've done before, I can do this, these are my personnel, so on and so forth. And then when they all come in, they get rated. There's actually a committee that rates these proposals, and that'll be the same thing when it comes time for constructing Simon Sanchez. When that request for proposal goes out and the proposals come in, we're going to rate all the companies. We're going to rate them in terms of, can they finance this? Do they have enough money to finance it? Do they have a construction company that can build this on their dime? Have they had experience in doing this before? And at what cost will they lease it back to the government of Guam? That's going to be a real important part. Is what we're requiring is them to finance the construction of Simon Sanchez and then lease it back to the government of Guam.
Thanks, Vince. Thank you, Mr. Ariola. When I came in the room today, I noticed that a lot of you were carrying signs. I didn't get to read them. If you've got a sign, could you hold it up? All right. Let's see the signs. Yeah. All right. Go Sharks. Okay. Thank you very much, everybody. I love free speech. Okay. Now I want the Superintendent of Education, Dr. Swenson, to talk to you just a little bit about what the financial projections are like for the new Simon Sanchez, how much we're thinking about spending, and et cetera and so forth. And can give it up for the doc.
Happy days, Sharks. All right. I was a high school principal for a long, long time. I feel a lot more comfortable out here with you guys than I do with policy people. But here's the deal. I want to keep you together as a student body, the whole Shark student body, through this whole process. The process of building this school, if it goes well, take 3 years. Keeping you here in the split session setting for 3 years, that's not a good idea. That's been tough on everybody, am I right? All right, it's tough on you and it's tough on the JFK kids. I want you in your own place. I know it won't be your new school yet, but I want you in your own place where you can be a Shark student body and live out the programs that you want to do in high school. So we're working on 2 different plans right now, and one of the things that we're waiting for is an answer from FEMA, because we know your original building last year before Mawar, you were living in it, going to school there, right? That qualifies as for FEMA funds to offset the cost of building a temporary campus. So we're working on that, but it's really up to FEMA whether or not they're going to fund it. So we have a couple plans, and I'm going to work with your student council leaders over the next few weeks to try and isolate which one we're going to use. But we're going to have to start next school year here, and then sometime during the course move to a new site. Because even if I get the money, it'll take us 90 to 120 days to bring in portable classrooms, set them up, get them ready to go. But that's the plan, is to get you in a situation where you have time and space to do your whole school day, to do sports, to do student activities, and do it as a whole student body, grades 9 through 12. Rather than some other suggestions that said, well, let's send, 9th grade over here and 10th grade over there. That's not a good idea. From what I see, you want to be all together as Sharks, am I right? All right, that's what we're working on. We'll keep you posted, but my intent is to get you out of the double session situation as quickly as possible onto a high school campus where you can run your programs and your principal and your teachers can do all the things they need to do, especially delivering all the courses, because one consideration is all the labs for CTE courses. We've got to have those too, and we have some answers, but I don't have the concrete solution yet, and I can't share that with you, so I don't want to get false hopes going. But we're going to get you together as a student body and keep you that way.
Yeah. Yes, thank you. One more question. Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Superintendent. And I appreciated the fact that you mentioned double sessions, because that's the next question. All of you folks, I think, are suffering from double sessions, and I want you to know that nobody in this room likes double sessions. Nobody. And we really need to get you guys, if possible, out of that situation. So the question that we'll start, I guess, with DOE, but anybody who would like to contribute, please, any ideas for getting these men and women out of double sessions as soon as possible?
The plans that we are working on at the earliest would get you onto your own campus, shared with another school, but not in double session, in about November, December, by Christmas break, in that window. If we have to go to Plan B, it'll take a little bit longer, but we would have you in a session, in a setting where you can schedule your classes so that you get everything you need and share some space, but not at the same time as the other school. So that's the best I can say, is that if everything goes well, by Christmas break, you'll be moving from this location to the temporary site that will be where you will be until your school is finished and you move into it.
I think that's pretty good news. You guys might be out of double sessions by Christmas. Okay, doesn't sound, it's a pretty decent Christmas present. The Lieutenant Governor, Josh Tenorio, has some ideas, I think, and sir, if you will help.
Thank you very much, Senator Fisher. Happy day, everybody. So I just wanted to maybe add a few more details so we can, when there was a question about financial projections that was on there. Right now, the government of Guam is in its strongest financial position in many years, and I want to explain what that means to your school project. A couple of years ago, when Superintendent Fernandez was with us and the A&E plans came out. The plans exceeded the amount that was previously talked about. So he came to my office and he talked to me and he said, Josh, I'm not sure if we're going to have to scale back the school because construction costs have escalated. But what happened was when he met with the governor's position was we need to give the school exactly what they want. We can't cut the auditorium. We cannot cut classrooms. We need to fund the whole thing. And the reason why the financial situation is so relevant right now is because that is going to be, that's the comfort level the legislature, in particular Senator San Agustin and our administration have to set aside the money that's going to be paying for the school every year. Unlike your parents when they go and buy a home and get a loan with the bank and they go and pay a mortgage, in this situation, it's almost like rent to own, where we are paying a company, just like JFK is doing, by the way. They pay a company for the cost of the construction and for the maintenance. It's also assumed that maintenance in Simon Sanchez is going to be provided by the company that's providing the building. And the reason why our financial situation is so relevant is because it also gives the companies that are able to get the financing even lower rates because, by the way, GovGuam for the first time is now an investor grade status, which means that the money that we go out to borrow is coming back at a lesser percentage. The company that will get awarded gets a certificate of participation that government of Guam issues. And that certificate, they literally take it to the bondholders to get the money to build. Now, everybody, the financial market we go to use is always in New York. And in fact, in a couple of weeks, our team led by the governor is going out for an investor conference. And part of that is that Gita has already been telling the story of Simon Sanchez, already be talking about our finances and inviting and figuring out how many investors are willing to lend the money to go and build the school, and there is a large number of investors now. So the financial picture is better than actually it was when JFK got constructed many years ago. Where we are now is I just want to say that if you compare this to when JFK had their protests, we already hit major milestones here. Number one, the A&E is done. You already know from your presentations what the school is going to be looking like, because the school, this was the only project where the school community was consulted about how the design and the number of classrooms. Another alternative which was on the table was they could have just gone and got Ukudu and built a Ukudu at Simon Sanchez, but they made a decision because Sanchez community was waiting for so long that they wanted to get the school that they deserved. So the A&E is complete. In fact, the A&E had to be shifted because we found all these endangered species on Simon Sanchez. And I was even wondering whether or not the snails came from the science class, but when they did the soil study and when they did the environmental, they were able to address that and address the design and the placement, which makes it by now, when the construction manager gets in, they are the ones that are making sure that the construction company is building what the designer is saying is supposed to be built. That's the purpose of the CM that is happening right now. So I just want to apologize too for how long it's taken, but I just want to also tell you that there's a lot of people working, and maybe one thing that I see might be missing is at all these meetings, probably with Public Works and DOE, probably, I don't think they've been in there, but I think maybe Superintendent Ms. Masanayan or Mr. Fanonia, one of the executive team, can be there at every single meeting so they can tell the faculty, staff, and students every single thing that's going on. Because I think what I've been observing is because things are moving, it's technical, they don't really understand or they didn't know. But I just want to tell you that I think everybody here wants to get it done, and we're trying to get this done as fast as possible. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, LT. We've got some other people on the panel, and before we get to the most important part of the program, which is hearing from you all, I wanted, because I don't know who arrived first, I'm just going to go down the bench here. And Senator Dwayne, do you have anything you wanted to add? Like, Biba Sharks.
Biba Sharks! Biba! You know, I'm a former school counselor. And one thing you don't do is tell kids a lie. And I want to show the truth here. Seniors, where are the seniors? Seniors, please stand. Stand up, seniors. These are the guys that will not graduate at this new school. Juniors, where are my juniors at? Where's the juniors at? Even you guys. Where's the sophomores at? Yeah, sophomores. Where are the freshmen at? Freshmen, stand up, freshmen. Because this might be your school. This is your school. 10 years ago, I was sitting on my couch watching the news, and I watched as back then, the students were protesting to get a new school. And the truth of the matter is, your government has failed to build you a school. And that's the truth. And you know what I noticed being in politics in my short period of time? When there's so many people to blame, there is no one to blame. And we're all to blame. And so, as a new senator, I want to help encourage and work alongside the administration and everybody along the way to try to get this school built once and for all. Schools are very sacred to me. They're like synagogues, they're like churches. Why? Because they cultivate the soul and they prepare you for the future. And you have my commitment to work together and do everything that is necessary to get this school built. And I'd like to thank everybody involved who's really putting the pedal to the metal and trying to get this resolved. And it's great news that you're going to be getting a temporary place where you can call home and learn there. And so I'm very happy with that. But there's one more thing that I wanted to say. You guys are going through some struggles right now. You're going struggles. This is tough, isn't it? It's tough. Double session is tough, isn't it? But that should put some iron in you and make you strong. Toughen you up. Why? Because it's going to prepare you for the future. So yes, go through the struggle. Go through the pain. Build yourself up. Get tough. Get tough. Because one day, you're going to be in my position. And people like you are going to be people like you looking up to people like us. And promise them that if you ever had a chance to make it good, you're going to do everything in your power to do it. You got it? Get tough, guys. Go through this. Work your way through it. Graduate. And I'll see you when you get there. Thank you.
Thank you. Here's a good sign. Rebuilding Sanchez. Islanders are cool, but Sharks need school. Did you catch that, television? Yeah. Thank you. All right. I'm going to put this so the TV can catch it, okay? Now, my next, my friend Sabina. Ma'am, would you like to say something?
Good afternoon, Sharks. So Since I used to be a teacher here, I don't know if you know that, but when I became a senator, I took it upon myself to learn about procurement and try to solve this big issue of procurement, right? And I have been working very hard these past years to fix it. And so that's why, with the emergency procurement law updated, we can now, Simon Sanchez, I think the closest to you getting a school right now is a temporary structure at this point. And I feel that could happen as soon as what the superintendent said. As soon as they can find a decommissioned school, that would be your best chance at this moment. Notwithstanding having to build a new school. That's going to take 3 years. But I feel that the solution is here to get you to a school that is a temporary location that is all yours. So I think that's the most positive news. And it had to do with my bill that I passed into law to allow emergency procurement to include buildings. So I have been working hard for you to do this. And so that you know, I know procurement is not a very fashionable thing to talk about, and that is why, but it's so important. It affects everything, as you well know. The other thing that I see a problem here that I can help as part of a policymaker, so we all have certain roles here, right? And we all need to have to work together to get you a new school. And so that's what makes it so hard to come to a solution, because if you don't have all the stars aligned together, then it's not going to work. But here you're seeing a group of us, this panel, that is willing to push hard to make this work. And so I do have a track record in making sure that laws are passed to make this happen. So we could not get to this point for a temporary school if my bill didn't pass. Okay, the other thing I see that can be very helpful is expediting protests. So as you know, protests killed the last effort, right? And so just so you know, when it comes to a protest, it goes to the agency first. They have to resolve it. If they don't come to a resolution, then it goes to the public auditor, which can take about 2 months at the fastest. Okay, but then if the aggrieved bidder doesn't like the resolution, they take it to the court, and that could take 1.5 years. Okay, so I passed a bill that would expedite procurement for DOE. So once it gets to the public auditor, they can lift the stay and move on with the project. Now, Senator Barnett has a bill that would address DPWs. If there is a procurement issue, let's say there's a protest at DPW, Senator Barnett has a bill that can lift the stay once it gets to the public auditor. And so I think these bills will be very helpful to solve, to make sure that you guys have a new Simon Sanchez home. So we ask for your support in getting these bills passed, especially Senator Barnett's bill, which can lift the stay, and so it doesn't get stuck in court. And that's where things languish. And so we really need everybody's support behind Senator Barnett's bill to expedite protests. So right now, what's happened is there's a protest for the construction manager. And unfortunately, it's not going to help that situation, because that one is not going to help it unless once we get to the construction phase and we have this bill passed, then it would help then. With the FEMA, so that's the other thing. So as soon as we can find a school that's decommissioned, and I'm sure they're working really hard to find a temporary school for you guys, which I think will really be important for you. I see the impacts. Of course, my colleagues are here, my former colleagues are here, and they've definitely been communicating with me, and the frustration, I've heard all the frustrations, and I see it has a huge impact in your high school years. And I am working hard. I am committed. I'm committed to helping move the procurement process along, and we hope you get your support in these pieces of legislation. But just to let you know, it's not just the legislature, it's the executive branch also that has to work hand in hand, and now we have the congressional office too as well. And that's the positive sign that you see. So keep holding us accountable, keep supporting these important pieces of legislation, because, you know, with your help, we can make this happen. And thank you.
Thank you very much, Senator. Thank you. While the good senator was speaking, my friend, the LT, and I, we gathered these signs. You guys worked hard on the signs, and you're going to get credit for them. Check this one out. Rebuild Simon Sanchez High School. Whoa! Who's responsible for this sign? Stand up. No? Okay. All right, LT, you're up.
This is good for the record. Swim to success. Rebuild Sanchez. Let Sharks have a home.
Where are the juniors at? Whoa. Okay, this one just says, juniors, just do it. Yeah. And then, rebuild for our future, Sharks.
We are the future. Rebuild SSHS. Simon Sanchez. Thank you for, it's from Avery, a freshman. Senengas. Yeah, there you go.
Is this
Kirsten.
Kirsten. Okay, this next one is from Kirsten Cruz. Where's Kirsten at? Thank you, Kirsten. It says the Sharks are out of water. You guys don't have a home. All right. Thank you, Kirsten.
And from Kirsten again. We want a normal high school experience. Hashtag rebuild SSHS. Nika Ella Dunca.
Okay, this one you're going to love. It says, Little Miss Rebuild Sanchez. Isn't that sweet? Okay. All right, good job. Look at that. That's Little Miss Rebuild Sanchez. Yeah, this would be good on a t-shirt. Yeah? All right.
And then from fifth period, this is from Jaylene P. Help us find home. Jaylene, is that you?
And this, there's no name on it. It says it's time to rebuild Simon Sanchez High School. The time is 2024. Okay? Thank you. I don't see a name on it. Who's responsible? Yeah!
All right. Jaslyn. Where are you, Jaslyn? Again, rebuild Sanchez. And then how about Joven Laksamana? Don't sleep on Sanchez.
All right, rebuild Sanchez. Yes, Juvie Laura, fifth period AP English. Thank you. Where you at? Yeah. Rebuild Sanchez. And back here's a sign that says, put our education first. Rebuild.
This one, actually, I think you need to enter into an art contest. Pretty good. Danger Sharks. Steph Malone. Where are you? Oh, nice. Good work, Steph. This one doesn't have a label. All heart, all hands, sharks. This is subject to interpretation. Thank you for this. Who is this? Oh, no, here it is. Sky Varango. Okay, all the artists are together. New campus loading. See one back there, bring the sharks back home.
Yes, sir. Okay, and here's one. The rebuild process is malfunction. The rebuild process is malfunction. And I got one more. And one more. All heart, all shark. We need a home. Okay. Aha. See? This is the LT.
It was all a political stunt. I promise you it isn't, but freedom of speech. And rebuild Simon Sanchez with the Sharks. How about back there in yellow? It says actions, not words. Rebuild. Oh, you lied. Yikes. We're going to prove you wrong. We're going to prove you wrong. How about back there? I can't see that, Tom.
And thank you. This one is Rebuild Sanchez 2024. You guys worked hard on these. Thank you very much. And this one is clearly a tattoo. Rebuild Sanchez. All right? Another good t-shirt. This person up here is tired of never being prioritized. That's changing. Broken school, broken promises. No more. You're going to get a school. Where's my LT at? Okay, we're done? All right. Okay, I'm going to move on. We're going to need to take a break at 3:30, but I want to get started with the most important part here. This is the panel. This is your voices, and we want to hear from you all too. So if you guys, when you get the microphone, just stand up, introduce, and say whatever you want, okay?
Hi, first of all, my name is Dulin Simeon, and I'm a senior attending Sanchez. I know Governor already stated earlier reasons of the delay of the reconstruction and renovation of Sanchez, and also word coming from the general stating statuses about requests of proposal, and maybe also the process being slowed due to money-wise situation dealing with the constructional project, but I hope you really understand and try to listen to our complaints. I think that there shouldn't be any more delays this year to start building Sanchez. The students have had enough. They've been patient enough for the rebuild and renovation. It doesn't make any sense that this subject about rebuilding Sanchez was talked about 4 years ago with the design, and there's no movement at all. Yes, I understand the Typhoon Mara made it harder and more difficult, and it messed with the plan, but that's been done, and summer is already almost here. How many governors would it take? Students are struggling with having to come to this school, getting hate from students of JFK, and we don't blame them. We are basically ruining their schedule of their usual time for school, with us attending this school in the afternoon. Sure, it's adjustable, but not where teachers can give us time for work. We don't have enough educational time. Traffic is always bad, which makes students come extra late to school, which would lead to us not having enough time for lunch or to even use lunchtime for makeup works. And also, I know there is break, but really, makeup work for 10 minutes? I can also say this for myself because I am a senior stressing to finish school this year, and the time we are offered isn't really enough. It's as if the governor isn't cooperating with the citizens of Guam. It's like our voices and opinions don't even matter at all, as if we were made to be kept quiet and unheard. And I am gladly speaking up for Simon Sanchez High School because we're fed up already. We need our own school.
My name is Jamie Pobletti. I'm a junior, Simon Sanchez, and I wrote this before we learned anything about what you just said today. I think that the rebuild should happen soon. No more delays, no more excuses. I did a research for an English class about how long Sanchez took to renovate, rebuild. The rebuild renovation has been put off for 43 years. 43 years is 4 decades, 15,000 days, and 705 days. 43 years ago, the school didn't need a rebuild or an entire new campus. This is a completely different topic, but the renovation has been adding up to a destruction now. It only needed a few renovations to keep up with the years that it would stay up. Even now, the school is actually broken, unable to be used, and still has not begun any type of fixing or rebuilding. Maybe some maintenance for cleaning, but what good is that going to do for the future students and us students now? We're not able to use it. We have to use a different campus. It has already almost been a full year since it was damaged from the typhoon, and even after the island recovered, our school still has not. Our school is just as important as any other school or facility. The delay on the rebuild doesn't only affect Simon Sanchez students, but also JFK students, because we are using their campus and they also have to go through rough hours of school. We have different types of struggles, but they equally affect us differently. Sorry, hold on, I'm trying to find my place. Compared to them, they are equally hard on people. We have the problem of getting home late and the struggle of planning, but they still have the problem of getting up so early in the morning to get on the bus just to get to school. There's a study, that the teenage body doesn't fully start functioning until about 10 o'clock in the morning, and they have to get up almost 5 hours earlier before that. Now, that's a different argument, but considering they're up way before the time of functioning, it's a lot depleting for their health. It's not going to help them at all when learning. It's a really big health and safety problem for them to get even to the bus stop because it's dark and no one knows who's walking around their streets. There's animals that can do whatever to them, so it's a lot of a health hazard. Although I speak for JFK students while still being a student at Sanchez, it is a major detail in this situation. We are getting home late and still having to do whatever chores we have, homework that is given to us, studying for any upcoming tests, and our extracurricular activities have to happen after school because of our timing. The rebuild isn't only to help us with our transportation, timing, or even the area we are in, but the health of students for both JFK and Sanchez. We will remember whatever effort is being put into this rebuild, whether it's positive or negative. We will all remember our parents, staff, schools, and students. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Andrea Garcia, and I'm a freshman attending Simon Sanchez High School. I'd like to first talk about the double session schedule and how it is affecting students from Simon Sanchez, JFK, staff, and other authorities. First of all, I'd like to start off with the sports. Double session schedule's usage of this year, I as a student has noticed many people being affected. One major concern regards students not being able to participate in extracurricular activities such as sports. Practices are usually held before school, while most games are during the evening, which is usually our last period of the day. When it comes to away games, students are often required to have a ride to go to where they need to be, and as most parents are off to work during this time, it can be a hassle to search for an individual who can drop them off. This is one of the many reasons why those who would like to participate in sports refrain from doing so. However, for those who are involved in physical activities, they have high chances of not being able to attend the remaining school time. Many students often have a hard time keeping up with schoolwork as soon as they come back, lacking the information they need because of the classes they missed. This ultimately affects their academic performances. Compared to normal students without a double session, they would not miss any of their classes as their games would be held after school. Another topic I'd like to talk about is the permission from admin, specifically JFK. As the campus we attend does not belong to us, we constantly have to ask for permission from JFK's administration. Their admin is becoming more cautious of us as there are possibilities of us breaking public health inspection because we're limited to what we can use around the campus and prevents us students from certain activities and events. As for busing, students get home at around 6 p.m. and it affects their home schedule as well as their time to work on homework. Not only does it affect the students, but it also impacts buses from different districts. Drivers frequently work overtime compared to their normal hours. Because of this, they would have to memorize and get used to the bus stops of different routes they aren't familiar with, all because of the double session periods. A problem we can connect to this is a larger number of students taking the bus after school because of gas problems, as it is a long drive and because parents are most likely at work during this time. Another problem with overload is the type of buses assigned to the drivers. For example, the bus I specifically ride in only holds a low amount of students. Because of this, students feel the need to rush to the bus instead of following the proper dismissal, which is to leave when the bell rings, as they are afraid of not being able to obtain a seat for themselves. As for escorts, I noticed that police are involved in the campus when it comes to after-school passing because of the overly large crowd, along with the traffic getting in the way. To prevent any bus delays, they arrive before school to help us pass through Kmart and get to where we need to be to get home safely. As for delays with the rebuild of Sanchez, I'd have a few questions for you guys to answer. And one being, how do the senators plan on fixing the procurement process to rebuild / get done with Sanchez, put an end to the delay? You have a Sanchez question? Oh, the question was, how do the senators plan on fixing the procurement process as it's always getting delayed for Sanchez to be rebuilt?
Thank you for that question. So it's a very important.
I apologize to Senator Sabina. Of course, when we get back, she's going to answer the question, but I was told that you guys have a break at 3:30. Well, no, this lady's, yeah, she's telling me.
All right, guys. We're going to keep everybody here because we want to hear what all our students have to say. So please, if you need the restrooms are over here. Okay? Your teachers are still responsible for you.
And then the LT is going to close. And then it should be 4:30. Okay? Thank you. Okay, Sharks, we're back live again, and we're back live streaming, and we're on a couple of TV stations. So the island's watching. I'd like to reintroduce for you, this is Senator Sabina Perez, and I apologize, had to cut in. But thank you, Sabina.
Okay, thank you, Senator Fisher. So we left off with the question, what are we going to do about procurement? Okay, so as I was saying earlier, I passed a bill to update emergency procurement, which allows us to then have a temporary place for Sanchez. So that's something that I've done. What I've also advocated for is, regarding protests, that's what killed the last attempt to build Sanchez, right? And so this is something we see as far as the process of protest, right? So the first level is that the protest has to be resolved at the agency level. So this case is at DPW. So we have a construction manager they had an RFP out, it got protested, and now it's with the agency, and they said it's now with the AG's office. So this is how, this is really complicated, so I may be getting too much into the weeds. But so the thing that I'm working on, and with my colleagues, is how do we expedite protests, right? I just want to say, protests are an important part to hold people accountable, because, it could happen where information is leaked when it should not be leaked, right? So we want to make sure we hold government officials accountable. It has to be a fair process. And so protests are good to that extent. But what we need to also assure is that these protests are resolved as quickly and as fairly as possible. And so what I've been doing, I passed a bill to expedite protest procedures for Department of Education. Senator Barnett introduced a bill to expedite protests for all of government at Guam, which includes DPW. And so this is what I'm proposing, is that we need to basically pass this bill. So when it comes time for Sanchez to put out an RFP to build the school, then it can go through this expedited process. And so we're not stuck with a year and a half, 2 years later, now 10 years later, right? So this is what we can help with the process. So it's really complicated because there are a lot of hands in the procurement process. So the people who write the bid itself, or the solicitation, they have to be knowledgeable, they have to be honest, right? And so a lot of factors go into a successful solicitation. And so that's another thing that I've been pushing for, is ensuring that education, we want to ensure that government officials that are involved in procurement are ethical, are qualified to do these things. And so this is something, it's kind of like we're reaping what we sowed in the past. These are things that we have to clean up, and we're doing our best to clean it up and trying to get it done at the same time as quickly as possible. So, the change is coming, and as you heard from the superintendent, he's working to get you a facility, or at least a temporary facility, by November. So temporary facility, and then, hopefully we can get the groundbreaking happening. But procurement, when I first got into office, I resolved to help with procurement, and I have been, and it's going to take a little, effort, multiple efforts. It's a multifactorial issue, and I've been working at all the angles as much as possible. And so we definitely need the support of my colleagues to get these reforms done, and also with the help of, the executive. It has to be a combination of both policy and actual implementation of the policy that needs to get done. So that's, I hope that I answered that question, but there's more. If you want to learn more about procurement, I'm be happy to come to your class and speak more about it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Senator. I was rude earlier, and I neglected to call on Senators Barnett and San Augustine. Okay, it looks like Senator Chris is waving, and Senator Joe? Okay. Senator Joe, no? Okay. All right. Thank you all very much. Thank you very, very much. And now we're going to go back to, frankly, the most important part, which is to hear from you guys. So, ma'am, if you would you mind speaking? Hello.
I just wanted to end it off by speaking of bills. I did my research and found that Bill 9437 from Law 3722, it states that it allows for the building and construction of Simon Sanchez High School to move forward with progress. The bill almost feels as if it has been pushed aside and not taken into consideration, but I do see that the improvements and the accomplishments that we're trying to do to get our school being built on time. So I really appreciate that, and I just wanted to thank you all for being here, so thank you so much.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Andrea Liana, SSHS SBA Secretary and a proud student of Simon Sanchez High School. I'm here before you today with a hopeful vision for the future of our beloved school. I am here before you today with all these students as proof of an unfulfilled promise of our new campus. As many of you are aware, our school recently faced a significant setback due to Typhoon Mawar. However, our adversities began before this incident. Throughout the years, students have said, we defined Simon Sanchez, not our school. And though that is true, it is also used to disguise the fact we have not had a proper, well-maintained school for decades. Moreover, not having a campus at all this school year. Our shark pride has been hidden behind Islander walls, and every day we persist. This is not our campus. We must ask permission before holding after-school meetings, choosing when events can be done, practicing for sports competitions. We must ask permission to show our shark pride. What if they're tired of us asking? What if they say no? They have every right to. This is not our campus. Our campus is not just a building of bricks. It is a symbol of history, the place where future leaders are shaped. Rebuilding Sanchez is not merely a task. It is a testament to your promise towards education, to the generations of students who have passed through broken down halls, and to those who will follow in their footsteps. It is a symbol of hope, resilience, and unwavering spirit of our community. In the end, an oath to rebuild Sanchez should not be a needed duty, but a long-awaited, undying dedication for Guam's sanctuary of knowledge, and a testament to the indomitable spirit of forthcoming doctors, teachers, engineers, and maybe even future elected officials. The mark you choose to act is beyond memorable. It is an everlasting effect for our future. Thank you.
Hafide, my name is Haley Pangilinan. I'm the Simon Sanchez Student Body Association President and a representative on the Governor's Guam Youth Congress. I am also a junior here at Simon Sanchez. I stand before you to stress the importance of a campus rebuild. I understand the delay, and I just want to reiterate some issues that the Simon Sanchez students have had that have made us so passionate about a rebuild. In my 2 years of attending the Simon Sanchez campus, I have witnessed the blatant neglect and lack of upkeep of our school. I have seen broken down air conditionings, bathrooms that lack toilet seats, that lack toilet tissue, working sinks. I have seen condemned classrooms. I have seen broken roofs, broken water fountains, and broken bathroom doors. Okay, however, thank you. However, this is not old news. For years, students of Simon Sanchez have been pleading with the government for changes in our school. Written testimonies, verbal testimonies, all have been overlooked until the catalyst of Typhoon Mawar wiped the dilapidated school off its feet. Now we are here in a campus that is not ours, working around the schedule of the JFK Islanders. However, our events are always a second priority. As president, I have worked to get activities for our school approved, activities that the students of Simon Sanchez know the school for, like our Shark Fest and Shark Shake Up and Sharkchella. And yet, some of these events have been canceled again and again, like our Shark Fest, because of the campus we are in. Whether it be lack of a sanitary permit, or the fact that the place is too far for students and teachers to go home and back here to prepare for events. This solution that was come up with of our temporary home has inhabilitated our ability to provide for our students. Clubs can no longer fundraise like they used to. Our normal events, like our fundraising events of Shark Fest, can no longer happen because of the location we're in. Normal fundraising things like food plates or candygrams can no longer happen because of our lack of a sanitary permit, because of the new school we're in. And for the first few months of this school year, clubs were struggling to get off their feet and start making money because they didn't have the necessary resources that they used to have in our old campus. Sports teams have gone non-existent or have faced struggles with practice spaces and times. Our football team no longer exists because of the campus that we are in. Students are no longer able to make practice times or practice locations because it's either too far or it's too late. We have students who are practicing until 10 p.m. at night and students who are practicing way early in the morning just to participate in this year's sports. Extracurriculars are fighting for times to practice. I'm in ACB and our practice times occur on Saturdays at a McDonald's because we don't have a location to practice and because we have no time to practice. Similar to what some of my fellow students have said, buses are overcrowded. There are students who are unable to find a seat, who are constantly having to transfer buses and are forced to walk longer distances home because of the new buses that they're riding. Even bus drivers are finding it hard to adjust to the schedule. I've talked to my bus driver and he's sometimes getting home at 9, 10 p.m. because of the commute. He is dropping students well into almost 7 p.m., going back and dropping off his bus, cleaning it, and then getting home. And it's, from what he's told me, it's a struggle. It's a struggle on all students because they're being forced to go to the bus extra early. Some are even leaving classrooms before the bell rings just to secure a spot on the bus. And lastly, our class time is cut short. Many of the activities or the assignments that we are supposed to do in class have been cut or have not been taught because we don't have enough time. And even classes that some students look forward to who have signed up because of these activities, they're disappointed because they're not able to do everything they can in that class. Okay. And again, we work around JFK's schedule. We are always waiting and having so many things canceled. It is frustrating. Our students are frustrated with this and the organization that promised us change. We waited for years and we've been speaking for years, pleading. Now we want change. We want a rebuild. Though the students now cannot enjoy the luxury of a new campus, the children of Jigo, our siblings, and our children will be able to see the new and upkept, the clean and the attended to, the no longer leaky roofs or the no longer lack of toilet tissue or toilet seats, the new campus that has been promised us for decades. As an upcoming senior, and from what I've heard from the other upcoming seniors, they don't want to spend their senior year moving campuses because senior year is so much stressful, and that change of waking up, of going to school starting at 12, and then a change midway through the school year of going to school at 6, it'll inhibit our ability to do our best. And so we're seeking a solution that's quicker and more and impacts the students less than a temporary change within the middle of the school year. So ending this, I urge our government to help us build a new future by rebuilding Sanchez. Thank you. Stand or sit? Should I stand?
Okay, so this is on behalf of a current sophomore, right? Or 2027? Is this freshman? Oh, okay, so this is behalf on a freshman named Savannah Sarapio. Dear Senator, this is Savannah Sarapio speaking. Simon Sanchez High School students are begging for your help in rebuilding our school. Not only is it affecting us, but it's also affecting the JFK students. We are using their school and taking away their own learning hours. It is fair for them, or it is not fair for them, nor us. Typo. They have to give up their school just so we can have a school to go to and have a classroom to learn in. The governor needs to take responsibility and rebuild not only Simon Sanchez, but also all the schools that are not in a great condition. Instead of thinking about rebuilding new places on Guam, they should think about all the GDOE students who don't have a school they can call their own. I could go on and on about how sad we are that we don't have a place to call our own, but I hope you guys can think long and hard about how us Simon Sanchez students are repeat that. But I hope you guys can think long and hard about how us Simon Sanchez students are despite for their home. Once again, this is on behalf of a current freshman named Silvana. Okay, so this is my testimony, and I want you guys to know I wrote this before learning what I know today. Starting quote, construction of a new Simon Sanchez High School student could start next summer with the first phase completed by the summer of 2024, end quote. Those were the words that appeared in a public post on Guam PDN, September 2021. As the starting of May 2024, there is still no indication that the first phase building has been finished, much less begun. The students of Simon Sanchez High School have been promised to have a new school built several years ago. However, due to various delays and legal issues, the construction of the new school has been postponed. In February 2014, a law was passed authorizing the design, financing, and constructing of a new Simon Sanchez High School. The reason for this promise was to address the dilapidated facilities and safety issues that the students have been enduring for years. The existing campus has faced temporary closures and health and safety violations. The law aimed to provide funding and a plan to rebuild the school, ensuring that the students, teachers, and staff would have a new and improved learning environment. However, the construction of the new school faced delays and challenges, including procurement problems and funding issues. These obstacles have further prolonged the wait for the students and the realization of the promised new school. As a current graduating student of Simon Sanchez High School, I feel compelled to voice my concerns and wishes regarding the persistent delays and broken promises surrounding the rebuild of our school. Seeing how little is being done to give us a new and improved learning environment is just disappointing. Our current building state of poor condition, together with the safety risks and insufficient funding, is a clear reflection of the failure of those in power to prioritize our education. We as students deserve better. Our concerns are not just about the physical infrastructure, but also about the underlying political will to invest in our future. We urge the authorities to take immediate action, allocate the construction process. It's time for action, for our voices to be heard, and for necessary steps to be taken to ensure that we have a school we can be proud of. Let us not be forgotten or overlooked. Together, let us strive for a better future where our education is valued and the promise made to us are finally fulfilled.
Hello? Hey guys. My name is Brandon Furman. It saddens me that my fellow classmates and I won't be able to graduate from our own school. Most, if not all, Simon Sanchez students are outraged by the constant delay of the rebuilding of our school. We are tired of hearing excuses and we just want to see some progress made. Due to double sessions, it affects the time for both us and students of JFK. This led to wasted time that could have been spent on instructional time, sports, work, and other activities. I feel like I could have achieved more this year if I just had more time. But due to the schedule this year, some of my goals couldn't be reached. And I think other people from both Simon Sanchez and JFK feel the same. Double session doesn't only affect students, but the faculty and staff too. They probably experience similar, if not the same issues as the students. Yeah.
Good afternoon. My name is Chantal Cornell, and I'm currently a senior at Simon Sanchez High School. You know, it's frustrating to keep hearing promises of a new school, but seeing no progress. We've been told again and again that a new school is coming, yet here we are stuck at another school. It feels like the only reason Sanchez hasn't been a priority is because of where it's located. If our school were in a more prominent area, maybe we would have gotten the new school sooner. But unfortunately, that's not the case. How many generations are going to have to endure this? Are we going to keep being denied and pushed aside until the sharks no longer exist? It's exhausting to constantly hear that our school is going to be built soon. I won't believe it until I see the progress with my own eyes. Rebuilding our school isn't just about constructing a new building. It's about investing in the future of our students and our community. It's about giving us the resources and the facilities that we need to succeed. It's about showing that we matter and that our education is worth investing in. We deserve better, and it's time for our voices to be heard. Thank you.
Test. Good afternoon and half a day. My name is Sebastian Balanza, a Simon Sanchez High School senior. First off, I would like to say your efforts do not go unnoticed, and we're grateful for the steps you have all taken. However, I don't believe that you fully understand the severity of this issue. Advocating for rebuilding Simon Sanchez High School is crucial, especially for families with lower incomes. Currently, shared facilities and double sessions are making life harder for everyone, including student athletes. Imagine the strain on families when student athletes have to travel far for late practices or home games. Gas prices aren't exactly cheap, and time that can be spent at work is valuable, which can be tough for families who are already struggling financially. By rebuilding Simon Sanchez, we can create a better, fairer environment for all students, ensuring they have the resources and support they need to succeed. What do you say, Sharks? Isn't it a time for a change? Thank you. Thank you.
good afternoon. My name is Shayana Movida. I am currently a junior here at Simon Sanchez High School. I am a student athlete. I am part of the girls basketball and girls volleyball teams, whom are the year's ISA champions. And we have experienced the challenges of attending double session here at JFK High School. I respectfully ask for open ears and understanding as I tell you my challenges and experiences for the past year. To start off my junior year in the volleyball team, Typhoon Mawar had just passed and the island of Guam was just recovering. By no surprise, the Simon Sanchez High School gym was in poor condition for anyone to be in. There was dust, debris everywhere, it was moist, it had horrible smell, the restrooms were unbearable, and just something you can visualize and expect from coming in contact with Typhoon Mawar. But this did not stop us from playing the sport that we love most. For a few days, we brought in our own cleaning supplies and got to work. We scraped off bird poop off the floors. We swept up all the debris. We mopped the whole gym. We wiped down the bleachers, and so much more. We as a team were committed to represent despite the conditions of our school, or not even having a school, as our season came by around the corner. We practiced there after school. I would rush from here to Simon Sanchez High School, leaving at 5 p.m. to Simon Sanchez to make it in time for practice at 6 to 6:30. And having the most understanding coach, Coach Richard Tamanda, knowing we had troubles getting there in time because of traffic, finding something to eat, and making sure that we were okay because we were all exhausted from school. This was physically and mentally draining for all of us. Our practice hours were from 6 or 6:30 to 8 p.m., but this was not the end of my day. I am still a student, and I am currently taking a nursing class, honor classes, and AP classes. As you can expect, the life of a student athlete. I would stay up trying to get a better understanding of current lessons because either I had to leave early to attend a game or because our class time was shortened. I know you have heard of schedule problems many times because of many other students, and I hope you can visualize and understand how difficult this was for me and other students, especially those in extracurricular activities. You may think, what about morning practices? Wouldn't it be easier for me? Unfortunately, I experienced this as well. For girls basketball, my practice ranged from 7:30 or 8 a.m. until 10:30. As I also had another considerate coach, Coach Arvin Domingo, who allowed us to have time to prepare for school, get something to eat, especially those who needed to get to the bus stop on time. Personally, this schedule was still as difficult for me. But throughout both successful seasons, despite all our challenges, I hope we prove to each and every one of you that we maintained and showed our school spirit behind these islander walls, even if we had no home. If we can get through these challenges for several months, was any of our achievements enough for you to push for the rebuilding of Simon Sanchez High School?
Thank you very much. I think Senator Barnett would like to add something.
Test. Buenas, Sharks. First of all, I want to thank you for all of your testimony here today. The committee has received so much testimony. Thank you, Sharks, for writing to us. And I know a lot of your letters are addressed, Dear Senator, so I just want to kind of give my perspective of what has been happening, or actually what has not been happening with the construction of new Simon Sanchez High School. So Senator Roy Quinata, who is a graduate of Simon Sanchez, introduced a bill last year. And this bill was exactly what the governor and lieutenant governor said that we needed to do to build Sanchez. So of course, we were more than happy to support the bill and get it passed, and we sent it over to the governor and lieutenant governor in July of last year. I don't know why it took so long to reach this point for there to be a protest, but I do know that the legislature, especially Senator Quinata, his committee, and all the senators wanted to build the new Sanchez ever since. And Senator Quinata and I just got here, but I have to say this because I'm the kind of person who's going to say what has to be said. The governor and lieutenant governor have been in office for 6 years, and we have seen no action on Simon Sanchez. You lied! You lied! And so I'm not comfortable sitting here listening to them sweet talk you. Because you deserve much better. You deserve much, much better. You went from a school that was rat infested to this school which is not even your school. And ever since we got in office, we have been begging the governor and lieutenant governor to help us with the schools. But all we have heard is excuses that the schools are not their problem. Yes, boo us. We deserve to be booed. Please boo. And so I just have to say, do not let them come here and dock on you for another 10 years. Okay? I was talking to a teacher. He started teaching at Sanchez in 2013. And he told me, Senator Barnett, in 2013, the news was they were going to build Simon Sanchez any day now. So just be careful, because a lot of what said today has been said before. The time for talking is over. The time for talking is over. Governor, Lieutenant Governor, build Sanchez now!
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. We really appreciate it. I want to assure all of you that this entire panel, none of us, not one of us would be here if we didn't care about not just Simon Sanchez, but the health of the educational health of every kid on this island. It's of vital importance, and I have a follow-up question. Is anybody here taking world history? If you are, raise your hand. Okay, we see some of them. Is anybody here taking U.S. history? All right. Is anyone, are any of you guys familiar with the term demagogue? Okay, you've just been exposed to some demagoguery. What you just heard to get you whooped up is only vaguely true. Don't get buffaloed. You're high school students, you're not children anymore. You make up your own mind. And you need to understand that this process is not easy. It's extremely complicated and very, very expensive. And everyone at this table is doing their level best. Everyone at this table is doing their level best to get the schools built. And I have to join the governor and the lieutenant governor in an apology. Please, please, please. In an apology to you. These years of yours that are being screwed up because you're in double sessions and you don't have your own school, you'll never recover them. Once they're gone, they're gone. So to the extent we have made mistakes, don't repeat them when you're in charge, okay? Do not let children lose school days. You know, we're always screaming about, oh, the schools got full of mold, and et cetera, and so forth. I'm sorry about that, but I want you people cracking a book. I want you to be properly educated so you will be taking care of me in my retirement. You have an obligation to me just as I do to you. And so I'm going to shut up. I know we're going on 4:30, and I'm very generous and skilled individual is Dr. Eric Swanson. I'm going to let him close it, and I just want to finish by saying, God bless you, God bless your families, God bless the island of Guam, and God bless the United States Constitution. Thank you.
Okay, all right. It's, we're just at the beginning. That sounds a little weird because, as you know, it's been a 10-year struggle to get moving to build the school. What we're going to do between now and the end of this year is I have to sit down with your school leaders, your parents, but also several people from this student leadership group, because you're the customers, you're our primary clients. So that's the next part of this process, and there's not much yelling and screaming or cheerleading going on. It's all about sitting down and doing the work to figure it out. And I'll be setting up that opportunity to bring your student leadership into the conversation to figure out what we're going to do next year, because I do understand the whole set of issues around the double session. That's the first thing we have to do for you in the short term. And then we've got to work with the legislature and the governor and all the other parts of government to actually get the school built. That's another discussion for another time. I'm going to turn you back over to your school leadership because they're going to tell you what to do next. But before I do that, I want to say thank you. You're a wonderful student body and a wonderful audience, and you've given us a lot of good information. Viva Sharks!
Thank you very much, sir. It is now 4:22, 1 May 2024. That concludes today's town hall meeting. God bless all of you. God bless the island of Guam.